up, world? Established Rich coming right back at you. Today, I want to talk about two different stories, but they actually both connected by the same thing. Ego, perception, and what happens when people step into lanes they don't fully respect. Let's start with T.I. and 50 Cent. T.I. just dropped his first stand-up special, Cheaper Than Therapy. And regardless of how you feel about it, I want to say this first clearly. It takes courage to walk into a room where you're not guaranteed love. It takes confidence to try something publicly you haven't mastered yet. And for that alone, I salute T.I. Most people stay safe. Most people never try. Most people talk about what they would do. And T.I. actually did it. Now, here's where the conversation changes. Stand-up comedy is not rap. Stand-up comedy is not acting. Stand-up comedy is not charisma. It's a craft that takes years of failing in small rooms with nobody clapping before you ever ready for a special. And that's why I think people are side-eyeing this move.
If you think that was bad, look at this. Went to the Barclays comedy show, Tip was there, and they violated, booed out of him.
I'm gonna tell you why I say that. Listen, I'm gonna give you. If you see your favorite celebrity, do yourself, do me, and the celebrity a favor. Before you go approach these people, think about what the you gonna say. You understand what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you what happens. Imagine sitting down in the family.
Niggas up there in the nosebleed violating.
And I see a peripheral doing
Nah, they violating.
in his mouth when he opened it. I will tell you that. Hey, listen, man, you ain't been here. Gentrification just started about 8 years ago. You just got here. I ain't gonna allow this from you. All my niggas I'll take it from you, sir. I will not allow it. I will not allow it. The walks in, caught me.
When 50 Cent posted that clip of T.I. bombing on stage, a lot of people got distracted by the petty, the editing, the muted crowd, the Instagram trolling. But that's not the real question. The real question is this. Did T.I. put in the same behind-the-scenes work that other comics put in before they got their big special? Because comedy is not about status. The room don't care who you are. Laughter is earned in real time. And I say that with respect. T.I. is a top-tier Atlanta artist. His catalog is classic. His acting resume is real, but every talent doesn't automatically transfer. Some people are born to do certain things, and some things require humility before they require confidence. You don't just skip the small rooms because you're famous. The small rooms are where you learn timing, silence, and how to read the energy. And that's why 50's jab hit, not because it was funny, but because it hit a nerve. Now, to be fair, T.I. himself shut the whole thing down. He said him and 50 cool, they play rough, but it's always mutual respect. And I believe him. But here's a bigger point people are missing. This is what happens when you put yourself in a space where critics are not impressed by your past. Hip-hop loves you for what you did. Comedy judges you for what you just said. And that transaction is harder than people think. Now, keep that thought, because the exact same dynamic is playing out in another story, just with different characters. Camron and Jim Jones. Two people who came together. Two people who built something iconic. Two people who cannot seem to stop taking shots at each other.
Dame impact in Harlem was nothing. Not to say it like that. Dame came up under hustlers that impact was it. He was a little dude when it came to hustling in Harlem. He wasn't not no Rich Porter, none of that type of. He wanted to hustle. He wanted to hustle for niggas like Rich Porter and that. Dame from the East Side. When the niggas on the East Side is different from the niggas from the West Side. Now for the East Side, Dame was a big deal to us because we were little when he was coming from the West Side. Little car, jewelry, and all that. So when you're young, he's looking like Rich Porter, but in reality, you know, he was like this nigga, go to the store, nigga, take a couple grams, get out of here.
Cancel out the street side of it and go into the music business of it. What was his impact with Dipset at that time?
He didn't have no impact with Dipset. Dipset, we made our impact on our own.
When y'all came over to Rockefeller, did y'all bring a certain energy that kind of ruffled the feathers of like state property and people like that?
When we came over to Rockefeller, it was all love. Everybody in the studios doing music, state property, Fleek and them, diplomats. Everybody was doing music there. That started until they went through all that damn shit.
But Joel said Cam took over the rock, huh?
I mean, and Mace was talented. He was a dancer. And Mace didn't excel at the rapping really to to after high school, they started getting on it, and then he excelled and then started getting on first and signed first, and then I helped Cam and everybody get on this. But as far as making a name for themselves in the street, nobody had no name in the street like that. You know what I mean?
Big L.
Right.
Big L had a name for himself. He was rapping early. He was signed early. He had some dangerous brothers.
That what Cam said.
They was uptown, really shaking and moving. You dig? And that's not my part of town. That was uptown. You dig? Yeah, Cam used to be scared to death of them niggas to the point he didn't want to come outside. I didn't understand it because I'm from downtown. You heard? We had our own set of killers.
This time it starts with Jim doing an interview and calling Cam soft, saying he was scared to come outside back when the streets was hot. And Cam's response wasn't about toughness. It was about real life. He said, why you worried about me when your heat is off and the rent is due? And from there, it turned into a full-blown online back and forth. Insults, rumors about money, rumors about debt. Now, I want to be very clear. When people keep joking about someone not paying rent or not paying for a studio space or other people saying they owe money, sometimes that's just internet noise. But sometimes people don't keep saying the same thing for no reason.
Find a steel drum and cut the top off of it. Next, you're going to want to drill 7.5-inch holes around the bottom for airflow. Then, you're going to want to get it burning really, really hot. Like all wood stoves and burn barrels, the first fire burns off the oils in the paints. This part takes about an hour.
That's about it. Just got his plate. You're about to tap in.
I'm about to tap in.
Yes, I need your honest review.
I got collard green juice going down my hand.
Come on, talk to me. How's the cornbread? Cornbread is really good. Thank you, sir. Wow. Trust me, how's your cornbread? Thank you.
Since I'm starting the year off at the top of your Explorer, are you not entertained? Since everybody want to put my business in the street, I will talk to you about my business. Right now, I am in the second phase of construction. We're not open to public. This is a raw space. I have not found out yet what I want to do exactly in this space, but in my mind, I was thinking of building like a little mart, but we'll see how that goes. Pull up though. Show you what we've been doing. I'm building a multi-purpose content creation facility for media, fashion, music, and broadcast. We have a boutique here, a boutique. We almost finished the loaded all fresh. The barbershop. That'll be done. Come on with it. I love free promo. As you can see, it's over space. This is actually a studio. It's almost done. One side. What we doing? The young boys usually be back there. The young boys don't feel no temperature. All they feel is opportunity. They still be here working in the midst of us working. So we're still in the midst of construction. It's not even half of it. We got whole nother half to film on. But what I'm trying to say is, I've been happy to be able to invest in myself and something that I know is going to help a lot of other people, all creators, and young ones that's trying to come up to be a creative or have a creative ability that they want to know how to double down on. It's like an X-Men school for all the fly people, if you say so yourself. So, you know, I appreciate the promo. I love free promo. You know, I ain't gonna miss a beat. You did? It's cold in here.
Oh, really? Now you putting this on the gram?
Everybody know.
Toughest nigga in Dipset is Freaky Zeke by far. It's not even close.
You're reaching now, coming at me. You need to be reaching for some kerosene. You need to be reaching for some coals. You need to be reaching for 2 rocks to strike them.
I ain't even mad at you, brother. I am mad at the choices you make, though. Because those are all choices of what business make, nigga. You can't afford to pay your rent and your heat bill. It's warm over here. It's warm over here. You know what, Jomo? Yeah, you're acting like a Jomo-sexual. Acting like a Jomo-sexual. Calm down, nigga. Yes, nigga.
And this is where the content creation comes into the conversation. A lot of people think podcasting is easy. Sit down, talk, post it. What they don't see is the cameras, the editors, the engineers, the research team, the consistency, and the time. It's a full-time job if you want it to work. And if you don't have infrastructure, you're gonna bleed trying to keep up with appearances. Sound familiar? This is why these two stories belong in the same conversation. Because whether it's T.I. in comedy or Jim Jones in podcasting, the common thread is this. You can't just walk into a craft and expect respect until you put in the unseen work. But talent without structure eventually gets exposed. And once the internet sniffs blood, it don't stop. Now, let's stay right there, because this is where the Jim Jones and Camron story gets interesting. This ain't just beef. This is two grown men stuck in different phases of their lives, still arguing about who they were in their 20s. When Jim called Cam soft, that wasn't really about the streets. That was about his identity. Jim is still speaking from a place where toughness defines value. Cam is speaking from a place where comfort defines success. And those two things don't speak the same language. When Cam fired back about the heat being off and the rent being due, that was not a street shot. That was a life shot. That was him saying, we are too old to be measuring ourselves by war stories when real life is knocking. And that's why it hit. Because when you over 40, money problems hurt different. Pride hurts different. Public humiliation hits harder. Now let's talk about the content creation angle, because this is where a lot of rappers get it wrong. Rapping and podcasting are not the same skill set. Rapping is performance. Content creation is consistency. You can drop a fire verse and disappear for 6 months. You cannot do that with a show. The show requires you showing up even when you're tired, even when the numbers are down, even when the internet is cooking your ass. And here's the part people don't like to admit. Just because you was great at music does not mean you will be great at media. Some people confuse visibility with stability. You see the cameras, you see the set, you don't see the bills. And when rumors start circulating about unpaid rent, unpaid studios, or money issues, that's usually a sign that the business is struggling to keep up with its image. Now, does that mean everything being said about Jim is true? Not necessarily, but it does mean this conversation didn't come out of nowhere. People don't randomly attack people's finances unless they believe that's where to hurt them. And Cam knows exactly where to aim. This is why this beef feels endless, because it's not really about music anymore. It's about who adapted and who didn't. Cam moved into a space where talking is the product. Jim moved into a space where image still matters more than infrastructure. And that gap gets wider with age. Now, let me connect this back to T.I. because it's the same lesson in a different form. T.I. walked into comedy with confidence, but confidence don't replace repetitions. Jim walked into content with star power, but star power don't pay the bills. Hip-hop don't prepare you for long-term systems. It prepares you to shine, not to sustain. And that's why so many legends are struggling in their second act. Not because they not talented, but because they trying to win a new game playing old rules. Cam understands this. That's why his jokes land different. That's why his shots are cleaner, and that's why he don't sound rattled. He comfortable where he is. Jim, on the other hand, still sounds like he's fighting to prove something. And when you still trying to prove something in your 50s, the internet can smell it. That's why I don't think this beef is ending anytime soon. Not because they hate each other, but because they represent two different outcomes of the same era. One adapted, and one is still adjusting. This ain't about Camron versus Jim Jones. This ain't about 50 Cent trolling T.I. This ain't even about comedy, podcasts, or Instagram posts. This is about aging in hip-hop. Hip-hop is the only culture that acts sharp when time shows up. We celebrate youth, we celebrate hunger, we celebrate aggression, but we don't teach transition. And that's why you see grown men still talking like they trying to qualify for something that already passed them by. Camron is not trying to win the same race anymore. He already ran it. Jim Jones sounds like he's still mid-race looking over his shoulder. And that difference matters. Same thing with T.I. T.I. is a legend as a rapper. That part ain't up for debate. But legend status don't automatically transfer into every other lane. And that ain't hate, that's just reality. Comedy don't care about your discography. Content creation don't care about your street credentials. The camera don't care about your past. It only cares about what you can deliver consistently right now. And here's the hardest truth in all of this. Sometimes the most courageous move is knowing what not to pursue. Everybody is not meant to do everything. Some people are born to rap, some people are born to talk, some people are born to act. Trying to be all three without putting in the work is how you end up becoming a punchline online. And that's why 50 Cent's trolling hit the way it does. Not because he's always right, but because he understands image, timing, and power. He knows when to press a button, and he knows who is still sensitive to being pressed. Now, let me say this clear, because this part is important. I don't enjoy seeing legends tear each other down. I don't enjoy seeing hip-hop turn into a permanent family argument. But I also don't believe in pretending we don't see what we see. This is what happens when you don't evolve with the culture you help create. The culture moves on without you. And if you're not careful, you spend the rest of your career chasing relevance instead of building peace. Cam looks at this like entertainment. Jim looks at it like a personal slight. That right there tells you everything. Hip-hop is at a point where Legacy matters more than volume. Who you are becoming matters more than who you used to be. And if you over 35 watching this, you already know what I'm talking about. There comes a point where proving stops being impressive and stability starts being the flex. Having heat on is a flex. Owning your time is a flex. Not needing to respond to every comment is a flex. And that's the real divide we seeing play out online. Not talent, not success, maturity. So when you see these beefs, don't just watch the jokes. Watch the comfort level. Watch who sounds at peace. Watch who sounds like they still trying to win something. Hip-hop doesn't end, but it does ask you to grow. And not everybody answers that call the same way. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe. Establish Rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.